the story here, Greg, is kind of the same as the main game. The champ has been determined. Paul Dumbrell wrapped it up at Bathurst, but it's the fight for second that's the real focus this weekend as we have a look at the grid.
Yes, mate, it's absolutely right. We've got a huge battle still going on with a lot of points up for grabs. There's Taz Douglas coming out of grid 11 with Paul Morris beside him. But Paul Dumbrell has wrapped it up. Ashley Walsh on 12.32. Cam Waters 11.51. So those guys don't have much of a gap between them. And again, as we've seen all season, they are very close when it comes to the start of this race.
So Paul Dumbrell will start from pole, two-race format for the weekend. There is Ash Walsh, Chris Pither, Andre Heimgartner. They're all in that fight for second in the points. But Paul Dumbrell here, a win up at Bathurst in the 250k enduro. So he's got the job done. It's a case now of finishing it off for the rest of the weekend. A couple of new names this weekend and a couple of returning ones. Down in the mid-pack, starting from 18th, or 19th, I should say, Kurt Kostecki, 16 years of age. He's younger than even Scott McLaughlin was when he first turned up a couple of years ago. Shea Davies, Porsche Carrera Cup driver, making his Dunlop debut. He's driving for Matt Stone Racing. He's going to do the series next year with them. So this is his first taste of V8 racing. And the Black Dragon Commodore there, James Golding, is stepping into the Dunlop series this weekend. So his debut as well. He finished third in the Formula Ford series this year. So final round of the year, Paul Dumbrell versus Cam Waters on the front row of the grid. Ash Walsh and Andre Heimgartner on the next row. Aaron Russell, best qualifying of his career. He starts from 6. Lights are out, away we go for race 1. But Ash Walsh has gone nowhere.
Is he going to get missed? That was so close in the background.
Josh Keane.
Bouncing across with a broken steering.
That's Brett Hobson, who's been put on the fence now. I think that was all triggered. The car that was slow was Kurt Kostecki, the debutant in that white Falcon, and they've all tripped over one another, and Brett Hobson's done.
He is very much done, and Ash Walsh too slow to get away. Very lucky to avoid any other contact for him. Paul Dumbrell though, clambering over the curbs down at turn 2-3. Cam Waters in close, hot pursuit. That's away very clean off the pole, did Paul Dumbrell.
That's Aaron Russell third. He's made a great jump, managed to pick his way through. Then Pither, then Heimgartner, Andrew Jones, Taz Douglas back in the series this weekend. And look at this. Dumbrell has to play defensive. Cam Waters
is going to put his nose. No, he just backs out of it. Very slippery and dirty down the inside. He does the right thing. Looking racy right to start. He knows he's going to have to do something pretty early. Paul Dumbrell, when he gets into his rhythm, as we've seen, he just goes away. So the NZ Falcon putting a lot of pressure on the back of the champion right now.
And Russell going with them in that Plus Fitness Ford. Pither next. But this is really good stuff. Cam Waters, remember, he's had a fast year at times, but he's made some mistakes along the way. That's a real shame for Brett Hobson's team with that damage, but no safety car. We're still green here at Sydney Olympic Park. So lap 1 down, and it's Dumbrell. He's just been able to squeeze away on that margin from Cam Waters, then Russell, then Pither, Heimgartner, Jones, Douglas, Ant Pedersen, Paul Morris in 9th, Jeff Emery in 10th. And they actually had to change an engine in that car, the Jeff Emery car, before they even started practice. They cranked it up on Thursday here. They had an error, they had a drama, and they had to change it. Let's have a look again at the replay of the start.
Ash Walsh doesn't even move. Gets a shocking getaway there. Whoa, in the background, as we see, and then Keane comes across after going up on 2 wheels. Poor old Hobson. Look at the damage to the 44.
And that's one of the ex-Gary Rogers team cars run by the R-Sport team. There is Walsh. You could just see there. Yeah.
He was slipping away, either a clutch problem there or something, or his line lock didn't work, I'm not sure, but he was moving, had to get on the brakes, and when he did that, as it always happens, the lights go out, but he was across the line, I reckon, of his start box there anyway at that point. So he still may get a penalty to add to that awful start.
And he's 14th on the road at the moment, Greg. And in the background, Kostecki was moving to avoid the slow starting. And there, nasty stuff. Josh Keane was involved. He's managed to limp back to the lane. It's one of the ex-Holden Racing Team Commodores based in South Australia at the moment, but plenty of drama. This Sydney Olympic Park circuit really bites. Dumbrell, exactly as you said, Murph, starting to stretch the margin here on Cam Waters, who is fending off Aaron Russell, who, remember, had a podium finish at Queensland Raceway. He's first of his Dunlop Series career. This is a small family team from Newcastle. They work really, really hard. Ex-Stephen Johnson, Jim Beam Falcon. And they're going at it with Ford Performance Racing, Eggleston Motorsport, who have a really strong tie to Triple Eight, Brad Jones Racing with Chris Pither. they're fighting with guys who've probably got bigger budgets and more experience and a bit more of everything.
Oh, no question. And Aaron Russell spent a couple of days over in New Zealand last week getting a bit of extra mileage with Andre Heimgartner in his Super Tourer. So maybe that's part of the key. Obviously, these guys, 7 rounds, don't get to do a huge amount of racing in these cars. And the miles do add so much value to the limited amount of time they do spend. So hopefully that's worked in his favour as it looks at the moment, still holding a pretty small gap as Waters jumps the curb, takes way too much curb there.
And he did this at turn 2 earlier.
Yeah, look at as he takes the right-hand side of the car even over the curb. Now, the curbs around here in Sydney, as it's been discussed, as it will be for the rest of the weekend, very violent. You can see the slow-mo, the action, and the harshness that these cars have.
So Dunlop, the champ-elect, is just edging away here. It's race 1 of the weekend for the final round of the Dunlop Series. Come back to Sydney in just a moment. Plenty going on here at Sydney Olympic Park, freestyle motocross. Tick. Have a look at these guys. Greg Murphy and I will not be attempting any of this stuff this weekend. We are far safer, my friend, in this commentary box.
Thank goodness that's not part of our contract descriptions there, mate. These guys are, I think we could safely call them in need of a check-up.
Let's get back to the Dunlop Series. Ash Walsh in the wall at the exit of turn 1. He's been slowly but surely picking his way back through the order after that slow start. He's 11th on the road.
We'll have to see if that's actually done any real damage to the infant's friend Falcon. A little bit of damage on the back there. Just got past Macaulay Jones, who's doing an awesome job there. Never driven one of these cars at Homebush before and qualified really, really well. Ash Walsh trying to make his way back through the field. If you missed it, had a shocking start, had a bit of a creep just before the lights went out, came to a stop, got going again, but has lost that advantage big time and trying to make up for it now as Cam Waters is in that second position and he is fighting with him for an overall second championship. Bit of a replay, runs wide. Quite a flat side-on hit there with the wall, so maybe he's okay.
This is Kurt Kostecki, who has stopped one of Matty White's ex-FPR4s, the young 16-year-old.
16.
Makes me even feel old.
What were you doing when you were 16, mate? We're driving V8 supercars.
No, it's definitely a good story to tell at school, but it's got a bit of a drama. Walsh here picking off Jeff Emery, so that gets him back into the top 10. Of course, no reverse grid race. They do another qualifying session, in fact, tomorrow before the second race. Something this year that we've seen with multiple qualifying sessions, which has jumbled the grid. So you do have a chance to bounce back. You don't get stuck where you finished the previous race. And we're going to see next year, since we actually last did the Dunlop Series at Bathurst.
Macaulay Jones down the inside. Yep. Emery gives him some room. That's a good move. Very strong move by the young man from Albury.
I was just going to say before, Murph, reverse grid races are gone next year in the Dunlop Series. A few people quite happy about that, just quietly being tripped over by it.
Well, it really is becoming even a stronger training ground for these guys that are looking to try and make that jump. You know, the likes of Ash Walsh and a few others really starting to feel what it's like to go through the process of what it is when you're part of the main game series. Doing these 2 qualifyings, these longer races, as the safety car boards are showing.
So that will bring Paul Dumbrell back to the pack, back to Cam Waters, back to Aaron Russell. And this is the reason why Kurt Kostecki's Falcon has stopped on the pit straight on Australia Avenue. He'll need some help. We'll take a break and come back to Sydney Olympic Park in just a moment. Well, it's Supercar Saturday here on 7. We might need the jet boat, Murph, because have a look at the weather radar. It's a little nasty in this part of the country. It's on its way here, but for the moment we're dry. We're back to racing, this time across the line. Green flag flies, and Paul Dumbrell leads us to turn 1, but Cam Waters is going to have a big look. Not quite, didn't get it done, so that leaves him vulnerable to Aaron Russell on this run down to the turn 2, 3, 4 chicane. He's managed to survive. Russell locks up.
That was a bit of a lock up. He's still pushing on really hard. Chris Pitter, Andre Heimgartner having a good fight behind. Waters had he really had a look up the inside. Dumbrell was very late on the brakes. The NZ Falcon would have been right on the limit there as he tried to put that little bit of extra pressure on the race leader, who's now just broken that gap out to probably half a second. He's in commanding form at the moment is Paul Dumbrell, our champion.
And isn't it funny? Remember in Perth, he missed a race because he had business commitments in Melbourne that were locked in before this deal was done with his Walsh Eggleston team. This is on with Ant Pedersen, but Pedersen's on the right side for the next one, so he has to go back to the drawing board, Ash Walsh. Remember, he's in the main game next year. Signed, deal done. He will join Will Davison at Erebus and replace Lee Holdsworth. So after a couple of years of grafting away in the Dunlop Series, he was the runner-up last year. He's done some good work for Dick Johnson's team in the Enduros. He's got his chance.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough to get the chance. It's tough to be recognised, to be looked at, and get yourself in that position to talk to a supercar team about a full-time drive, and he's managed to do that. He's had some tough runs in this championship over the last couple of years. Clearly one of the fastest guys out there, and delivered it, you know, on most occasions, very good performances. But this guy's showing them how to get it done. He has been the class act of the field again, just the consistency from him, as we expect, after the achievements that he has had working with that Triple 8 team. He is the benchmark of the field at the moment.
Yeah, of course, former champion, the Dunlop Series at the other end of his V8 career when he was on the way towards the main game. Cam Waters here expecting to see Cam back in the Dunlop Series next year with FPR and NZ. They've been great backers of his for the last few years, and clearly has got the pace. We know that. Has had a couple of dramas this year, but when it comes to putting it together, Walsh sideways there. He's definitely a contender in 2015.
He is a contender, but I mean, again, if we're talking about the young guys that are doing a good job, who could potentially moving up, we talk about Ash Walsh. He's got that chance. Cam Waters, you know, equally could have been in that position. It just hasn't quite played out. The options haven't presented themselves, and he's looking to having to go back and do development series again. So, you know, that'll be his third season doing it. And there's no question about his talent and his pace. As you said, we've seen him make a few mistakes this year that have been very costly, and people have criticised, but generally, you know, his overall speed is fantastic.
Of course, we've got another Dunlop Series driver who's getting a step up to the main game, Andre Heimgartner, who sits 5th at the moment in the Finance Easy Ford. He's going to drive for the Super Black team, which, of course, we saw them as a wildcard entrant at Bathurst. They'll be full-time in the championship next year. So a Kiwi team with a Kiwi driver all bodes well for fans across the other side of the ditch.
And that was the best I've seen Andre drive. You know, I had to take my hat off to him. You know, he's been there or thereabouts in this series for a little while, but he got in there in a very good car, obviously run very well. Super Black Racing, you know, we didn't expect them to show, you know, an awesome sort of performance at Bathurst, but they did, you know.
11th.
It was incredible, and they were inside the top 10, inside the top 10 right until the end of the race.
Fuel.
That's right.
That was the only difference.
Those guys, Ant Pedersen and Andre, drove exceptionally well in that race, and Andre, I think, came of age. You know, he really showed some of that skill that he's sort of been there or thereabouts, but he proved it on that day, and he's been rewarded with that opportunity with the team. As Ash Walsh searches down the inside, he's pretty late. He's
He's fenced him.
In the fence, you can just see the attitude of the infant's friend Ford.
And that's a weird one, isn't it? You know, around this place, where you're trying to brake the car, it's actually coming up and down. So when you make a tiny little error, it gets worse and worse and worse. And someone else usually ends up wearing part of that drama. It was Ant Pedersen that time.
It was. He's got a little bit of desperation going on here. You can see it skipping over the top of the surface. The tyres are going slower than the actual speed of the car. And he's just forced Ant Pedersen there as he couldn't get the car turned, Ash Walsh. And Ant Pedersen ends up in the fence. That'll be an interesting one to see how that is dealt with upstairs.
Well, this is the man who's dealing with them all, though. Paul Dumbrell, the champ-elect of 2014, is out in front. Paul Dunlop Series Racing from Sydney in a set.
Vehicles, look at that.
That's a lot of shine.
That's a lot of shine and a lot of show. Ash Walsh exiting the pits after the drive-through that he was given for the move on Ant Pedersen that didn't go to plan. He got down the inside of Pedersen in his Eggleston Motorsport Commodore, but didn't get it done clean enough. Oh,
Kostecki off again.
Just recovering again from a little escape up the road. And Ash Walsh given the drive-through for that incident. There's a flat tyre.
Yeah, right front.
On the right front here, or a failure on the suspension or something. But that will be... He's had an interesting first race.
Yeah.
Debut.
16 years and 5 months of age. He's undercut Scott McLaughlin as the youngest ever V8 driver. James Golding goes around. Somehow doesn't take Brett Stewart with him in the Dragon Commodore.
That's a long way around there too.
Dan Day managed to make it through. And that is Dan Day, who in fact has just gone down a lap to, in fact, no, so that's Gary Jacobson in front in the 54 car, another of the Eagleton Motorsport cars.
There's too many Eagleton Motorsport.
Well, they paint them all
out there. They're all
exactly the same.
Could they please next year paint them different colours?
I've pleaded with Rachel Wag and Ben Eggleston. They're not going to do it. They're keeping the colours, so we're just going to have to get on by for the rest of the weekend. But it's Paul Dumbrell who leads the way for their team. He's out in front. Cam Waters second from Aaron Russell, and here is Kurt Kostecki in pit lane.
And what a place to make a debut at Homebush.
Big
challenge for a young guy who doesn't have a lot of experience. 16 years and 5 months.
And the debut is over, judging by the boys from Matt White Motorsport. So this is the fight at the front. The gear wrench Commodore of Paul Dumbrell leads the way, of course. Did his bit this year to help Jamie Whincup get his 6th championship. He was the co-driver of car number 1 for Red Bull Racing Australia. They won the Sandown 500. Of course, they nearly won at Bathurst, and they had a win on the Gold Coast as Aaron Russell here flaming out on the run up to, that's the turn 2 chicane on the slow-mo. So he's having a really good run. He's third, made a great jump at the beginning of the race and has been able to hang on to that spot in the Plus Fitness Ford ever since.
He's dropped back a bit in the last few laps. Cam Waters has got a bit of an advantage over him now, so it's a 3rd place by himself. Pivot and Heimgarden are still fighting pretty hard for that 4th spot, but great job by Aaron.
Yeah. This car's like, ooh, hello, hang on a minute. Brett Stewart is parked. I was going to wait and see which of the Eggleston cars it was, because from the back, I could not tell the difference. It's Gary Jacobson who's been able to get himself out of that drama, so at least they've been able to remove both those Commodores and get rolling again. Let's have a look at how they did it. Gary Jacobson's going to try to put a move here, I reckon. I know where this is going. It's going to the wall, both of them. Whoops.
Not the first time we've seen that one either.
I've seen that one as well.
He's gone in pretty deep, Gary, trying to make up for lost ground. And he's given the room too, as Brett Stewart. He's done nothing wrong there.
And you're out in the grey there too, Greg, aren't you? Because there's just no grip.
Big time in the grey, but at that point, there's potential there that Stewart was still going to make that corner, but he had no chance when Jacobson was driving straight ahead, blocking him from turning. So those two will regroup. Here we go.
Here's another replay. Aaron McGill.
Oh, McGill taking every single bit. And
Jim Policina made it through, just. James Goldie made it through.
A bit of confusion now, which way to go. Here we go. Back to the front, though. Peterson.
This is Todd Hazelwood, who started rear of grid in the 35. Ford going by Marcus Academy. Green and white car, Shea Davies, Porsche Carrera Cup driver, won the round at Bathurst this year and having his debut in what was the Gulf Western car that Michael Hector's been driving, the old Scott McLaughlin title winner from 2012. So this is, for Shea Davies, this is his first taste. He has raced V8s before in the V8 touring cars, which is where the old Dunlop series cars end up. But he said, oh, mate, chalk and cheese.
Yeah, no
nothing
difference.
that I did there has really helped me here. This is a whole new ball game. He's got Ash Walsh helping him out. He's a teammate for the weekend. And, of course, Todd Hazelwood is part of Matt Stone Racing as well. So he's got some good young guys to work hand in hand with. And at the moment, he sits in position 11, which is really, that's a good result. Just needs to bring it home and not have any dramas and have a good, solid debut. Paul Dumbrell's flying high, though. He leads the way. We're closing in on the finish of race 1 in the final round of the Dunlop series for V8s. Back in a sec. He may have the title wrapped up, but that is not meaning that Paul Dumbrell will be slowing down. The Eggleston Motorsport driver leads the way. Welcome back to Sydney Olympic Park. It's race 1, round 7 of the Dunlop series for V8 supercars, and he is controlling this one quite comfortably. Margin, 4.5 seconds back to Cam Waters. Pit lane penalty, Greg, while we were away, has been given to Gary Jacobson for contact right there with Brett Stewart that saw them both in the fence. So this is the only Eggleston car that hasn't been through pit lane. Ooh. And you don't reckon he's trying?
He's not letting off one single bit. He's trying to put it on everybody else and make them challenge, and at the moment there is no challenger. Paul Dumbrell got a 4.4-second lead over Cam Waters.
Did you bring the poncho, Berth? I reckon we might need it.
That is some serious looking weather. Sydney has been pounded over the last few days, and it's looking like it ain't about to let up. And you'd think it was getting dark. You'd think it was the end of the day, but it's not. And V8 Supercars have got their second race of the day coming up soon. But if I was one of them, I'd be looking at the radar pretty closely. At the moment, I think we're going to have a dry finish for the Dunlop Series. Paul Dumbrell just in too much control out the front. He's pushed it. He don't get much closer to the wall than that one. He's touched it a couple of times already. But he seems to be enjoying it, and he is making everybody else play catch-up.
And that fight for second in the points at the moment of the guys who are contending. Cam Waters is second in the race, so he would be looking good. Remember that Ash Walsh down the pack and having a really dramatic race. It's action going on everywhere here. It's hard to know how to keep up with it all. Jeff Emery, 10th, and Pedersen. Todd Hazelwood, good drive. He has done a really good job this year. His first year in the Dunlop Series, he's started rear of grid for this one. He had an off in qualifying earlier on in the day, but when it comes to the best first-year driver in a V8, he gets my vote because he's definitely done a great job.
And we've got stories like that up and down pit lane. There's no question about it. Look at these cars bouncing over the curbs. He has got racing stripes from being in the tyres, Todd Hazelwood, all the way down the side of his Falcon.
He's got a bit of damage to the rear as well.
And Ed Pedersen, he's trying to find his way back through after coming together. Ash Walsh getting it a little bit wrong and a passing move. Here's Pedersen sideways. Emery just a bit slow through the chicane. Pedersen looking down the inside, can't get it done. Hazelwood's going to look for an opportunity here on the Kiwi. He's having to just be a little bit defensive. Lost a bit of road to Emery. Hard under brakes. Bumpy down the section of track, no question about it. Very, very hard to manage the braking. To be able to stop a lock-up happening. Very easy to do. Jeff Emery, though, just continues on his way. Hazelwood looking down the inside of Pedersen. He's going to get this done. It's a great move by the young guy. Just giving him a rap, Aaron, and rightly so.
Just ignore the damage, though.
Mate, I don't think there's many cars out there other than Paul Dumbrell that doesn't have any scratches on it.
It's a good time to be in the business of spare mirrors and panels when we come to these street tracks. We'll be back here next year in terms of the Dunlop Series because the 7 rounds that we've been to this year will be the rounds next year. Same venues, no change in terms of the way that it will unfold. Hazelwood was really keen to get on the throttle there because he knew Pedersen had a run, so he's trying to cover it off for this long run down towards the chicane to turn 2.
He needs to be careful that he doesn't get himself in a bad position for the braking. I'm glad I'm not a shock absorber around here. I'm glad I'm not a shock absorber. They are absolutely getting pounded. He managed to hold off. The lights are blaring. Eagleson Motorsport car, the Kiwi and Pedersen putting a massive amount of pressure. He'll be pretty disappointed as he runs really close up against the wall again. And he gets
he's in the wall that time.
Goes in too deep. Makes a mistake. Turn 8 has claimed another one. And how much damage does he have?
Time will tell, but never good. Penultimate lap here at Sydney Olympic Park. And that is now Gary Jacobson just stepping aside.
Has done some damage. Aaron too, he's limping here. Shea Davies has managed to get past and grab that position, but here we go. Oh, he locked it up just a little bit and collects the tyres. The conveyor belting, wrapping those tyres is not soft at all. And he's done a reasonable amount of damage. I think he's got a puncture there on the right front with only a lap to go too. So a real shame for the young guy.
So this is back to the fight for 3rd place, Greg. This is Aaron Russell in the Plus Fitness.
Under a bit of pressure now.
Chris Pither starting to close in.
And he's trying hard too. Through turn 6 and 7, that chicane through there, you have to be pinpoint accurate every single time. And he's pushing it. There's bits of bodywork flying off all these cars.
Chris Pither, his name is still being linked to, what are they up to next year? I know he's desperately love to get into the main V8 Supercar Championship. There's still a few seats on the go. His name's been linked to a few. He's got a very strong, long-time backer in Ice Break Coffee. So let's wait and see where he lands for next season. But he's keeping the pressure on here, and finally it's all let go for Todd Hazelwood. Right front's popped.
Well, we were giving him a rap. You gave him a rap. He did a great move past Cam Peterson. And now it's all come unstuck. Does he keep it off? The
back it
wall,
off.
that wall has seen some action today.
Got a funny feeling it will again tomorrow as well. It blames cars. He's trying to get out of the way here of the rest of them, but that is one right front Dunlop that is toast, and he's just got to limp it around. The leader is on his final lap now, Paul Dumbrell, so for Todd Hazelwood.
If I was his team, I'd be telling him to slow right down, wait for that leader to come past.
That's definitely his because it's marked with his racing number, so he can't claim that that's not mine.
Yeah, the right front brake cooling duct sitting there on the track.
This guy, though, he's been really going for it this year, Paul Dumbrell.
I think he's got his lights on because of the darkness out there at Sydney Motorsport.
The cameras actually probably make it look a little bit better than it is just looking out the window. It's starting to get a little bit dark here at Olympic Park.
Half a lap to go, and he's very comfortable. There's Cam Waters second, 4.8 seconds behind. He's closed the gap, but I think that's probably because Paul Dumbrell's just backed it off a little bit. Plenty of action going on there, avoiding the traffic who are on 3 wheels, 4 wheels.
He's going to bring it home, and
he is going to bring it home.
Yep, pole position. Oh, 2 wheels just to really rub it in. So this will be 4 race wins in a row for Paul Dumbrell. It hasn't been done for about 5 years in the Dunlop Series. So the champ has delivered again. He takes another win, Paul Dumbrell. He controlled that one really well. Cam Waters home in second. That's good for him in the fight for the runner-up position in the series. Aaron Russell, he's going to get home just because Chris Pither has come on strong in the last couple of laps, but the Ford gets to the line.
Great drive by Aaron. Congratulations to him for that. Andre Heimgartner brings it home in 5th place. Waiting for Andrew Jones. The one I'm looking for is Ash Walsh, who's fallen back down through the field slightly.
He was running in around P13. So let's recap the results. Dumbrell, the winner from Waters, Russell, Pither, Heimgartner, Andrew Jones in 6th. Taz Douglas back for the weekend. The Bathurst runner-up in 7th from the Bathurst winner, Paul Morris. Macaulay Jones, great job. The Rockstar Commodore P9, and Jeff Emery rounded out the top 10 in the ex-Craig Lowndes Commodore. So Dunlop Series will be back for another race to round out the season tomorrow here at Sydney Olympic Park. But in the meantime, Mark Barrett's with a very special guest here at the Sydney NRMA 500.